What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for The Shy. This is season 3, episode 9, titled Lackin. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review, shall we? Alright, guys, this was an interesting episode, I will say that. So, the episode, I'm gonna start up where we actually begin the episode. So we see Keisha, and Keisha is having dreams about Amari. And she wakes up out of her dreams, she's screaming, and then she goes to her phone, and she turns on this app, that is just giving her, breathing pointers on how to, regulate her breathing. So then Kevin comes in the room, and Kevin asks her, is she okay? She says, I'm fine, Kevin, and she says, get the fuck out. So then we do see Keisha and Kevin later, they go for a walk. And, while she's walking, there are homeless dudes that are, doing cat calls at her. And she has a bit of a panic attack. And Kevin notices that. And then, so, they continue to walk. And she says, I heard you. And he says, what are you talking about? She says, I heard what you were saying when you were talking to Dre and Mama. That, you wish that I didn't come back. He said, I didn't mean it that. He said, I didn't mean it like that. She said, yes, you did. And, I really feel bad for both Kevin and Keisha because, both of them, we know Keisha is seeing therapy, but Kevin needs to go as well because, this is it's not just Keisha that was, affected by this, it's the whole family. So they go to the store, they go to a convenience store, and, she goes inside because Kevin wants to follow her. She says, I'm just going in and get a tampon, so chill out. So then we do see Nina and Dre. So Nina and Dre, now they're out and they're on a hike. And they're doing, Nina's like, this is what Kevin calls the white people shit. So while they're doing this hike, Nina is just worried about Kevin and Keisha. And, Dre's like, they're fine. And then she's more so specifically worried about Keisha. And Dre's like, we just need to give Keisha her space. That's what the therapist said. So then while they're on the hike, we realize they're with a self-help group. And the woman tells them that they need to identify their burdens, they need to name them, and lay them to rest. So Nina says that her burden is her kids, and then also that Dre will fall out of love with her. And then she says, so what's yours? And Dre says, well, mine is the idea that I can't save her. She says, because my family and friends always told me that I always go after broken women. And, Dre didn't take, not Dre, but Nina didn't take too much offense to that. So then back to Keisha. So you remember, I just said that Keisha said she was going to the store to get a tampon. Well, in fact, she actually went in there to get a pregnancy test. So we see her, she's taking a pregnancy test. Now Dre and Nina returned home. Kevin said that he was getting ready to go and, go to Emmett's place. And, Nina just tired of him telling her where he's going. It does come with the territory of a teenager. Teenagers want to tell you where they're going to go instead of actually asking. So then, Keisha comes out of the bathroom and she has the pregnancy test in her hand. I'm like, oh shit, this is the last thing that that girl needs to be pregnant by Amari. Like, goddamn. She's having nightmares about him, and then she's, dreaming about him. She's having nightmares about him. She has triggers, and now she's pregnant with him. Like, I have to say, it takes a special woman to, give birth to a baby that's a product of rape. If I was a woman and I got raped and got pregnant, I just don't know if I would be that strong to carry a baby to term. But my hats are off to women who actually go through with it. Like, I commend those women who do that. So, like I said, Kevin, he went over to help Emmett. And Emmett asked, how's Keisha doing? He says she's, well, we'll get to there. We'll get there. I'm going to pause on that one. So Keisha's talking about, she wants to know how soon she can get this done. She's wanting to have an abortion. And they said, well, we'll just talk to Jada. She's like, I don't want nobody to know. They said, Jada will be discreet. So then we see Kevin. So Kevin, he was texting Gemma. And this is before he goes to Emmett's place. He was texting him, Gemma, to meet him at Emmett's. And she says that, she can. And for him to stop texting her because her dad is reading all the messages. So then, Keisha, she comes back into his room. And she asked him to go running with her because, he said, I don't want to go running, Keisha. I don't like running. That's something that you like to do. She says, Kevin, just come with me because I'm scared. So when they're out running, he says, okay, I'll go, but go slow. So we see her out running and she's not taking it slow for Kevin at all. And, she comes up on the bus and she has another panic attack. And then, Kevin, he didn't really see that, but he did, see Keisha, sitting down, and he just consoled his sister in her time of need. And then we later saw Keisha, she was on her computer, and she was looking, and, Nina came in, and she said, "What's to expect in your first weeks of pregnancy?" She says, "Are you having second thoughts?" She says, "No, I'm not." Like I said, my hat is off to women who do that. Like, I don't think I would be a strong enough person to do that. God, it's interesting. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna hold off on the big story, but we're gonna talk about Emmett, Dom, and Tiff. So we see Emmett, we see Dom, we see Jada and Tiff. So they're all at Sunny's, and I'm really confused about this timeline because I thought Lil Rel's character was just gonna give them a test run, and if they did good, then he would give them the rest run. But I don't ever remember them having a test run. But if it is what it is, they're cleaning up Sunny's because they're getting ready to open up. That is Dom and Tiff, but they don't have a name for the restaurant yet. And Tiff says, "Well, why don't y'all just name it Dom and Emmett and Dom's?" And Emmett doesn't want to do that. And then I'm like, does Tiff not see what I'm seeing? Because Emma was under the table, they were all cleaning up, and Emma was under the table scraping the gum off the table, but at the same time, he was sitting there looking at Dom's ass. And I'm just like, Tiff, you don't see that he's looking at her ass? Like, okay, maybe Tiff just doesn't see it, I don't know. So then we do later see Dom, not Dom, but Emmett, and he tells Tiff, "Come here," giving Tiff a back rub, and then he's going over some names that he's come up with in his head. And every name that he said, I'm saying like, damn, so is this like a strip club? Is this like some kind of porn shit? Because I mean, every name had a sexual undertone to it. I don't know, it might not have been what he was thinking, like suck this bone or something like that. I'm like, those have sexual undertones, so no, those names suck. And Tiffany told him that those names suck. So then, Emmett thanks Tiffany for being down for him. I'm like, oh, now he's having major regrets. So then we do later see Emmett, he's talking to Dom about things that happened between them. She tells him it ain't shit, it wasn't shit, and that's how they need to keep it. But she's like, because you don't want to keep bringing it up. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself the whole time, like, so y'all having this whole last conversation. Your mama's here and Tiff is here. Now, what's going to happen if Tiff comes in and hear you and Dom talking about the fact that y'all had sex? It's not going to end well. So, yeah, I was just sitting there. And then Jada comes in, and I thought Jada heard the whole conversation. And she told Emmett, like, she's not hanging those lights by herself. So then, Jada does ask Emmett once they hang up the lights, like, why was he and Dom arguing? He says, it's over the name. She says, nah, Emmett, it's more than that. She said, did you fuck her? He says, no. She says, Emmett, did you fuck her? Because I know you. So he says, yeah. He says, well, I did it, and it's out of my system now, so I'm not a cheater anymore. She's like, nigga, whatever. She's like, I'm not the person that you need to be explaining or apologizing to. That's Tiffany. Emmett has not changed. So then we see Emmett, and he's trying to set up the cash register, and then Kevin comes in, and Kevin tells him like, I can do it. So he does set it up, and Emmett asks Kevin how is Keisha doing. He says she gets mad over the smallest shit, and I'm happy that Emmett did tell him, like, I mean, she has been through a lot, so that is to be expected. So he tells him a name. He said, what was the name? Great Smokes was the name that he told him. And he was like, damn, that sounds like a pawn. That sounds like a weed shop. So then we do see Emmett. So Emmett goes to a pawn shop, and he's trying to buy an engagement ring. So he asked the woman how much was a certain ring. He said, what can he get for 500? She says, nothing in here. And he see a ring. He says, well, how much for that? She says 500 plus that watch. He's like, this watch, my cousin gave it to me, and he's dead. She's like, nigga, I don't give a fuck. If you want the watch, if you want the ring, give me the 500 plus the watch. So he does. So then we see Emmett, and we didn't see Emmett. We saw Dom and Tiff. They're in the kitchen, and when Tiffany came in there, the way that she was looking at Dom, I was like, she knows. I'm like, she gotta know. But she didn't, because if she did, she didn't say anything. I'm just like, okay, this is interesting. So then Emmett calls him outside, and and I forgot to mention in the earlier scene, Smokey Robinson was playing in the background. So Emmett called him outside because he came up with the name for their restaurant. He decided to go with Smokey's. Now I didn't really understand. I didn't understand where Smokey's came from. I thought it was very generic of a name for a barbecue place. I mean, but I mean, if it's what he wants to name it, go ahead and do it. Tiffany, however, thinks that the name came from Smokey from Friday, which is one of my favorite movies. But he says no, it came from Smokey Robinson. She said, wait a minute, the original light skinned nigga, the original the bars. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm glad you know who Smokey is, but damn, he was a lot more than that. But whatever, Tiff. Whatever, Tiffany. So then we see them, getting ready for the opening. So they cut the ribbon, and before Emmett lets everyone inside, if Emmett gets down on his knees and asks Tiffany to marry him in front of his other two baby mamas, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, so you want to go into a whole marriage with a secret? That's not a good way to start a marriage, but if Emmett wants to do that, let Emmett do it. So then Darnell's dumb ass show up with that fucking Bluetooth in his ear. I could not get over Darnell and this damn Bluetooth. Nigga, nobody wears Bluetooths like that in this day and age. Get you some AirPods, get you whatever. But nobody walks around with a fucking Bluetooth. So Darnell's dumb ass said that, well, actually, Jada told him that he got engaged. She said to who? She said his baby mama. He said, which one? That one. Oh, Miss Scorpio. She says, I don't know what the girl's sign is. He said, she said, yeah, she must be cheating on him. She said, she's not the one that's cheating. And then, he says, well, she ain't doing her wifely duties. I'm like, oh my God, Darnell, it's something else. So then in the kitchen, we see Dom and Emmett. Dom tells Emmett congratulations. And then Darnell's dumbass come back there and he is flirting hella hard with Miss Dom. And I have in my notes, why is this nigga wearing the Bluetooth? Like, I can't get over that fucking Bluetooth with Darnell. So then we see Kev and Papa there. So they talking about, Gemma. And, Papa's like, well, shit, if you were trying to fuck my daughter, I'd be feeling the same way, too. He said she was trying to fuck me. Well, either way it go, y'all was going to be fucking. We going to hold off on this part right here. So let's move on. All right, you guys, and now let's move over to Ronnie. So we see at Papa's daddy's church. That's so sad. We don't even know what Papa's daddy's name is. He's just Papa's daddy at this point. So, at Papa's daddy's church, they giving Ronnie the praise. Basically he got saved. He was able to find Keisha. And this one dude in the church got up and said, saving that bitch don't mean shit. He's still a murderer. I'm like, damn. In the house of the Lord, we up here cursing like that? Whew. We gotta pray. We gotta pray. So, Tracy, she gets up and she said that, her group that she works with, they were able to come up with some money and she wants to present it to what's his name? To Ronnie. And, Rose gets up and says, well, me and Doodle would like to give him $5,000 as well for what he did. And, the thing is, Rose is just running her mouth. Duda wasn't able to get a word in edgewise, and then when she did try to let him speak, the pastor cut him off. So then we see Duda, he's telling the church members that what he plans to do once he becomes mayor, that he wants to fix the potholes in the city. I'm like, the potholes? I mean, I get potholes are a big thing in cities, but potholes? And then, Rose says, and that's just the beginning of the plan. We call it reparations. And, so when they leave, he tells her to stick to the script. She says, I wrote the script and I can ad-lib if I want to. So then we find out that Papa's daddy is endorsing Duda. And he wants to talk to this woman named Angela again. I'm like, wait a minute. Who's Angela? Is Angela like a prostitute, streetwalker? No shame, no shade. Who is Angela? So then we see Papa talking to Ronnie. He asks Ronnie what would he do with the money, and Ronnie says he's going to go to Springfield. And Trey's like, you're leaving? He's like, yeah, I need a fresh start. And Papa's daddy comes up. He says, well, Mr. Brother Ronnie, before you go, the church needs their tithes and offerings. He's like, yes, sir. I'm definitely gonna give you my 10%. He's like, oh, it's just something about Papa's daddy. Like the man is all about money, all about money. So then, Rose and Duda, they leave him. And Duda's like, are you the candidate or am I? And then he tells her to go her ass home. I'm like, oh shit. He just told you, didn't he? So then we see Tracy and Ronnie. So Tracy tells Ronnie that, she asked him if he wants to see his granddaughter. I'm like, oh my God. Because that annoyed me in the first. It doesn't annoy me that much, but it annoys me when I get it. He raised Jason as if he's his own child, but that baby is not his granddaughter, but okay, whatever. So he says, yeah, he wants to see the baby, and then he tells her, she tells him that she's sad to see him go, and he asks her, will she accompany him while he spread Miss Ethel's ashes. She was like, Miss Ethel hated me. He says, no, she didn't. She just loved me more. No, Ronnie. Miss Ethel hated Tracy. So then, we see them walking, and, they, he's telling her about this place that, he and Miss Ethel used to come to. And then Tracy tells Ronnie, in order to start a new life, that he doesn't necessarily have to leave. And I'm like, kinda, sorta. You just saw what happened in the church. That little nigga stood up and said he's still a murderer. Like, people are not gonna be able to let that go, no matter what. No matter what he's done. And I know he did a good thing by, saving Keisha. But people are not gonna be able to forget the fact that he did kill Coogie. So it might be best for Ronnie to leave. It might just be best for Ronnie to leave. So then Tracy gets a text from the baby mama as they're going down memory lane. They're talking about a Thanksgiving that, Tracy says she ruined because Jason went into the kitchen and turned all the knobs on the oven and burnt the turkey up. So like I said, the baby mama texts and said that they can see the little girl tomorrow. So then they do go see the baby, and the baby mama is talking about the fact that she wants to put the baby in a gifted school. And Ronnie says, Tracy was like, that's a lot of money. And Ronnie says, well, you can take this. It's not much, but it's something. So he gave her that check, and I saw $5,000 on it. I'm like, wait a minute. So is that the check that Rose and Duda gave to you? Don't that have your name on it? But maybe it just has, no, that check has to have his name on it. But whatever. So then let's move over to Trig and Jake. So some kid broke into Trig's car, and Trig was like, that's a homeless nigga. And Jake was like, he's not homeless. He's like, that's JJ from the 63rd Street, mob. So Jake has a little plan. I'm like, wow, so you gonna trust Jake with the plan? Okay. And the kid actually left from drugs. So then we see Jake and Trig. So they're over to Duda and Rose's house. So Trig is talking to him once again, like, you sure you want to do this? He's like, yeah. He said, well, if you run into any trouble, get out of there. So then he's in the house. He's trying to get into Duda's safe. And he just hitting numbers on the safe. And I'm like, little nigga, do you know the code or not? The combination or not? And Rose actually heard him when he was doing that. And she says, how are you going to try to break into a safe without the combination? It's 11/27/46. So he got a file. And so he goes back out to where Trig is. Then we later see Trig and Jake. They go to Camille's office and meet her campaign manager. They want to see her, but she's not there. So they hand the campaign manager the file. He opens up a manila folder. And he's like, damn, what do we do to deserve this? He said, consider it a gift. He said, what do we owe you? He says, nothing. It's just a little bit of a gift. All right, you guys. So to go back to the thing that I held off on to close this out. So you guys remember, everybody went to Emmett's for, Smokey's grand opening. We see everybody there. Like I said, it was Jada. It was Jada, Tiff, Dom, Emmett, Papa, Jake. Forgot to mention with Jake and Papa. So I don't know what that was they made, but since he can't text Gemma, he got on, I guess, like Instagram, and on the table it says, I miss you, and she liked it. So Papa like, slide in the DMs. I'm sure her daddy don't check the DMs. That should be the first place he checks besides her text messages, her DMs. But so yeah, they're there. Tracy and Ronnie are there, and you know, Emmett sees them. He's like, and there's a dude there like, you just gonna let them motherfuckers cut in line? He's like, this is a hero. Let them up here. So he asked them what they want. They ordered their food, and then we didn't see them eat their food or have a conversation. All we saw was, you know, them throwing their food in the trash and they walking out. And then we see this shadow behind them, and boom, boom, we saw a gun. Actually, I heard one boom. I didn't hear two, but I saw two bullets. I saw a bullet right here, and I saw the bullet in his head. I'm like, ooh. I wasn't shocked by the fact that they killed Ronnie, but I wasn't shocked. But I was like, damn. I knew something was gonna happen to Ronnie, but I didn't expect that. I really didn't. But that's the shine, you guys. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are all aware of when I drop anything else. Share this video, and until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you guys later.